Hey guys, my name is Simpzy. How are you all doing? Welcome to the Battle of Winterfell on Seven Kingdoms Total War, a Game of Thrones mod. Here today, we're going to be creating the upcoming Game of Thrones Season 8, Episode 3, The Battle for Winterfell. The episode will be live in the next couple of hours, so I thought here today we'll try and recreate the battle ourselves on the Seven Kingdoms Total War mod. I want to give out my predictions for the episode and my overall predictions for Game of Thrones Season 8 and how it's all going to end. So if you like the sound of that, feel free to leave the video a like, subscribe if you're new around here with notifications on, let me know in the comment section down below feedback and suggestions, and feel free to leave a dislike. Still going to be doing my Imperator Rome Let's Plays on the channel. I just thought I'd mix things up here today with a bit of a change of pace. Okay guys, welcome to the fields of Winterfell. Jon Snow, Aegon Targaryen, the Warden of the North, has amassed an army from all around the known world, from the Dothraki, from the east, with Targaryens, Mormonts. We've got some of the famous houses here. House Brax has sent a contingent loyal to Jaime Lannister. So we're going to meet some of the characters present in this battle here today. There are Starks, Arryns, Mormonts. So here's our first Stark infantry in the front line in the fields of Winterfell. It's going to be interesting to see how well we do in this battle without Dragonfire. The engine does have some limits. House Manderly in the front line here. Mormonts as well, loyal to the Starks for the last 1,000 years from Bear Island. We've got Unsullied in the second row there. Spearmen ready to go for Daenerys. Grey Worms here as well in the front line. He's going to be commanding the center Dothraki and Unsullied contingent. Further at the back we have the man, the myth, the legend himself, Jon Snow, the Warden in the North, commanding the army. And to his right hand side we have Sir Davos here as well. We've also got the likes of Jorah Mormont, Jaime Lannister in the battle, and it's only going to be a matter of time before the Night King. Well, I'll get onto that in a moment. Well, the White Walkers and the Whites, the Night King's lieutenants, march against us. We've got Thenns, we've got Wildlings in the front line here as well. There was a small contingent loyal to Jaime Lannister who fought with him in the Battle of the Whispering Wood, and has come north to help out there. What is Jaime? It wouldn't be Liege Lord now, would he? Because I guess it would just be the son of Tywin, I guess. Karstarks on the far right-hand side as well, who betrayed us in the Battle of the Five Kings. We've also got some Hornwoods further down here as well, and House Glover, heavily armoured plated infantry. Galbert Glover will lead the van. And here we have Jaime Lannister himself with a unit of Westerland cavalry. He's going to be commanding the far right flank for Jon Snow. So the Lannisters, Arryns, Greyjoys, Targaryens fight for the freedom of Westeros here today. Bran scouting ahead with his ravens. Hopefully he can walk into a dragon later on. Tormund Giantsbane holding the center here, of course, with the Wildlings. He's charging forth, and we've got Jorah Mormont here as well. And the front line is now moving into position before we see the Whites coming up against us. Let's see what we're going to be going up against. It's a full moon in Winterfell, and the wolves are howling. So Davos here sitting further back with Jon Snow. It's going to be interesting to see if he survives the episode, of course. We're moving into position now. The Whites are on the horizon on the fields of Winterfell here today. Skeletons and White Walkers as far as the eye can see. The undead are coming for us at Winterfell, and only Jon Snow and his merry men can hold it off. The moon's up nice and high. Let's hold the line. Archers already raining fire and death upon the White Walkers there. and further rotting corpses at the back. Look at them just bloody slugging through the snow without fatigue or stamina. Death comes for everyone and everything, and it's up to Jon Snow, the resurrected man, to hold the line. Rightio then, guys, welcome to the prediction portion of the video. I'm going to be going through my thoughts and opinions on what's going to happen in Game of Thrones Season 8, Episode 3, what's going to happen to some of the fate of the characters, and then we'll talk about the sort of ending and where this season's going to end up. So I feel like the Army of the Living is going to win the Battle of Winterfell, quite easily actually. But it's going to be no avail, because I have a sneaky suspicion that, from what we've seen in screenshots, and especially the ending of the last trailer, that the Night King isn't actually there, just his white lieutenants. I believe the Night King has flanked with his dragon to King's Landing. We saw a vision of Bran with a dragon over King's Landing a fair few seasons ago, and I think he's going to burn and destroy the city to the ground, killing the million inhabitants of King's Landing. And that's what they're really going to be doing for the next sort of remaining of the season. I just feel like they haven't shown him. You'd think they would show him at the end, and the way we find out is that Bronn is conveniently leaving King's Landing. So let's talk about this episode, some of the characters in the hall. Who do you think are going to survive and leave? So the Dothraki there are currently engaging a unit of Rides. Oh no, Dothraki Ride has just been smashed there. Jon Snow commanding the artillery to rain fire and death. We've got some shots off ourselves. Burn the whites! Burn them all! That's a good shot there. Still holding the line. The trees are burning with their arrow fire. So let's go through some of the characters. I think Grey Worm and Missandei. I definitely think Grey Worm's going to die in this fight, and Missandei as well. There's another theory as well that Grey Worm could survive and bring Missandei's bones to Narth. Theon Greyjoy as well, I think he's very likely to die in this episode. He still hasn't atoned for what he did at Winterfell, even though he was tortured and whatnot. But the Starks directly sacrificing himself for Bran could be a potential outcome. Brienne of Tarth, now 50-50 really could sort of happen to her. She's been knighted now, but she's one of the very only sort of characters linked to the Stormlands, so she still might survive. So it's really up in the air with that one. I could see her dying, but I also could see her surviving. So Davos as well, very much in the same boat. I could see him getting taken out for this episode. I don't really know what else he sort of has to do. He's got really no more advisory arcs, I believe. Maybe, so that's about 50-50 as well. Podrick Payne as well. I was kind of surprised that he wasn't knighted, to be perfectly honest. So he could potentially die in this battle. Tormund's Giantsbane isn't going to die in this one. He's the only POV character left with the wildlings, so I think he's probably going to live the majority of the season. Jorah Mormont's probably going to die in this episode. I would say he would. Along with Beric Dondarrion. Gendry won't die in this, I don't believe. He is the heir to the Stormlands, and he is the, well, yeah, heir to the Stormlands, and that's how it's probably going to end for his character. Varys could die as well. It is prophesied that Varys will die in Westeros. Jaime Lannister as well. I think he's probably going to die in this fight. That will be sort of his redemption arc for the series, as Tyrion will more than likely inherit Castle Rock. His shit pipes in. I think Jaime's going to die in this episode. The Hound isn't going to die either, as he still has to deal with Clegane Bowl, and Arya's going to survive as well. I still think with her, she's going to go west of Westeros during the end. So we're still holding the line here against the White Walkers, the right flank and the left flank. It's really only the centre that's still managing to hold here. We've still got Hornwood, Unsullied, and Starks holding the centre. The moon's going down, so the light is quite dim. We're fighting tooth and nail here against the Night King's lieutenants and the army of the dead. Hold the line, man. It's kind of interesting they chose Winterfell to sort of hold as well. You'd think like Deepwood Mott might be more advantageous, or just any other castle than Winterfell, just with snow attrition, but I don't know. Maybe moving logistically the army's a bit tough. Oh no! An Unsullied died there in the center holding. The White Walkers are fighting in the Night's Watch here as well. So there are my predictions for the episode. I don't think the Night King's going to be there. I think he's going to be attacking King's Landing instead. So, like, why would he risk his most valuable asset, the dragon, against 2 dragons? Isn't it a little bit suicide to sort of throw it in like that? And Jon Snow, he knows where Bran is. He knows that Jon Snow is going to do a final stand. Why would he risk it? I think he's actually in King's Landing. So I've gone through the deaths of the characters as well. Let's go through my predictions of how I think it's going to end. So let's talk about Jon Snow. There's actually 2 ways, I believe, Jon Snow and how his character arc is going to end. So I think he's going to survive Game of Thrones, but it's going to come at a cost. George R. Martin said it's going to be a bittersweet end. I do believe Daenerys will die in the show and the book. So Jon Snow's character is either going to go down one or 2 paths. He's going to be the king of nothing. Most of Westeros will be destroyed, half the population wiped. Daenerys will die, and he'll be left with the unborn son. That's the option I like, which could potentially happen. The second option is it's going to go down sort of a Davy Jones style of story, that the army of the dead, even though the Night King is defeated, the army of the dead won't stop and will keep on going. For the living, there'll be a whole thing that, like, he needs to get stabbed in the chest by Dragonglass and he needs to become the White King. His whole arc is about self-sacrifice for the Watch and whatnot, so I could definitely see him sacrificing himself for the greater good, whether or not him dying or becoming the Night King and being stuck in the north forever, holding back the army undead under his control. So I can definitely see that sort of happening. I don't think Bran's the Night King. I don't... the thing is, right, it's kind of cool, like the whole sort of time travel potential stuff they could do, but they haven't really established it enough. They've only done the Hodor thing. To wrap that up in 3 episodes, to have a time paradox, I don't think it's likely for the show. Maybe more so in the books, because George R. Martin was a writer on Twilight Zone back in the day, so that could be a potential thing. With Daenerys, I feel like she's going to die. Whether or not Azor Ahai is going to be pulled out of her, I'm not entirely sure, but that could be potentially happen. But I think Daenerys is definitely going to die for this series. There's a whole bit of irony that she will get the Iron Throne throughout her storyline. Let's talk about Arya Stark. I believe she's going to go west of Westeros. I don't think she's going to be a Lady of Winterfell or sort of rule with Gendry in the Stormlands. I think Gendry's going to inherit the Stormlands. His arc is already merged with Edric Storm, so I think he's going to survive most of it. Tyrion Lannister as well, he's going to survive. He's going to inherit Casterly Rock, I'd imagine. I'd be surprised if they kill him off, but I think the ending of Game of Thrones itself, I believe it's going to end the same way as The Hobbit. It's going to be written by Samwell Tarly in the Citadel, and the book will be called A Song of Ice and Fire. So unfortunately, guys, it is time to end the video here. Thank you very much for watching the Battle of Winterfell. Let me know in the comment section down below if you agree or disagree with my predictions, and let me know yours in the comments below.